Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a Season 3 prediction list for Battleground Blitz. Do keep in mind that this is pretty much just, obviously like I said before the season starts, which is obviously why I'm saying prediction. You guys want me to do a video on this, so there's going to be obviously tuning over the next few months, but yeah. So I just wanted to do a video on this because you guys asked me to, and let's get this started. So first up is Affliction. I want to put this in S tier. I think they'll be good in Battleground Blitz this season. I was really high rated on my Druid last season. I was fighting against like rank 1 players, including them having them on my team. Ended up seeing Dean a few times, and he was playing Affliction a few times. I think Affliction will be pretty good. They didn't really get too much changes this patch, just some buffs to their damage. But Warlock is pretty good. They got tons of fears. They got Shadow Rift, which is very strong on certain maps, and rotting people down in Battlegrounds is generally really good. Rot classes generally do pretty well, like I'm sure you guys know, Affliction, Shadow Priest, Boomkin, stuff like that. So classes generally do pretty well. So that's the reason why I'm putting Affliction on S tier. I think they'll be pretty good. So they're pretty much on S tier for that reason. Up next is Destro. Destro is personally my favorite Warlock spec out of the three. I think it'll be A tier. Playing a lot of high battleground blitz games, they generally tend to be trained a lot. Like, I mean, with a group that actually knows what they're doing, they get picked on quite a bit, and especially by like marksmounters, for example, they get hard focused by them, and they actually marksmounters just incredibly hurt, as people know. So uh, I'm putting them on A tier for that reason because it's just a lot. I feel like it's a lot harder to get stuff off when a group just hard focuses you and stuff like that. So, and unlike Affliction, they're not really a rot spec. They're more of like bursting people down. They hit hard. They're my favorite Warlock spec, but and they're still very good because they have like the CC and the Shadow Rift similar to Affliction. But it's just a different play style, and I feel like sometimes against a very good group that knows what they're doing, it's hard to get stuff off. I've seen it happen in high rated blitz games. In low MMR games, you can obviously get away with it because people just don't really talk or do anything in those kind of situations. But in high rated games, in my opinion, it's a lot harder to do stuff as Destro. Personal opinion. But not saying Destro is bad, so don't get me wrong. I actually think it's good. It's my favorite Warlock spec. But like it's just speaking from experience when when you got a group that knows what they're doing, it's gonna be a lot harder with Destro. So that's my personal opinion. Up next is Demo. I've been playing a little bit more Demo lately. Having said that, I don't think it's as good as the other Warlock specs. It's got a bunch of just like ramp up time. I don't see too many Demo Warlocks myself in Battleground Blitz. Um, so I feel like they could probably be more of like base defenders, similar to how Beastmastery is, because they have pets. I'm gonna put them probably on. I think they're on B tier. Their damage isn't necessarily bad, and I feel like they do have more CC than Destro and Affliction does. It's just that they have a lot of ramp up time. So compared to like some other stuff, I guess you can argue the same thing for Affliction and all that, but I just don't think they're as super strong compared to Affliction and Destro. That's my personal opinion. So I'm putting them on B tier. I don't think they're bad. I just don't think they're super amazing, but they do make pretty good base defenders with their pets, and they're like I said, their damage isn't bad. CC wise, they're pretty good, so they can CC healers and all that pretty well. And that's the reason why I'm just gonna put them on B tier. I just think out of the three Warlock specs, they're the weakest for Blitz, but that's just my personal experience and why I'm putting them on E tier. Up next is Assassin Rogue. Assassin Rogue, in my opinion, I think will still be S tier for Battleground Blitz. They can pretty much do all things. They can go off in ninja bases if necessary. They're the one of the few rogue specs that is good in team fights. So in team fights, like they can rogue silence everybody that's stacked or nearby with their AOE. They can AOE people down. They got sudden demise, which is basically a auto touch of death. When people are low, they automatically die. But yeah, I'm predicting Assassin will be pretty good. I don't think they got much changes either. But Assassin Rogue is really good in Battlegrounds because, like I said, they can just do everything. They can go off in solo bases if necessary. They can be in team fights. They can lock healers out with throats. They have really excellent cleave damage. Um, good defenses. I mean, Assassin pretty much just Rogue in general just pretty much has everything. So I'm predicting uh Assassin will be S tier. Same thing for Sub Rogue. The only difference between Assassin and Sub is that Sub Rogue is not good in team fights, but Sub Rogue can pretty much lock a healer out of team fights if necessary. They can also ninja bases really easy because Sub compared to Assassin has a million times more CC than Assassin does. So and Sub is really good at ninjaing bases, especially compared to Assassin, which I know Assassin can do the same thing, but Assassin's more kind of like built for team fights than solo sometimes. But compared to Sub, but yeah, I cannot tell you guys how many freaking rogues there was in Battleground Blitz on my main. Every Battleground Blitz I had at like higher rating had like two rogues on each team. It was insane, and they would always ninja bases. It was crazy. Like rogues in general can definitely change the tide of a Battleground Blitz for sure. Like it's crazy. They make a huge difference. Just in my personal experience. So I'm putting Sub Rogue on S tier for that reason. Up next is Outlaw Rogue. I'm gonna put it in the same category as Demo. The reason why that it is because they do okay and like they're very good at running flags and they're very good at stopping bases before their other team can cap. I've seen so many outlaw rogues just go the route of trying to stop the other team from capping a base fast as they can. They just speed to the other side of the map and spend the entire game just stopping the people from capping pretty much. And that's why I'm putting them on B tier. If you want, you can make a case for an A tier. But the reason why I'm putting on B tier is because compared to like other classes in the game, their damage is just meh. Like it's just that's all there is to it. Their damage is meh. So that's why I'm putting on B tier. But if you want to make a case for A tier because they're good at base spinning and stopping people from capping the base, and they're also really good speed flag runners. You can do that. Having said that, however, usually healers flag run anyways, so it doesn't really matter as much. But yeah, there's some situations where Outlaw can shine really well, but compared to like other specs in the game, especially like Assassin or Sub, Outlaw just isn't really great in my opinion. I'd rather probably see an Assassin or a Sub on my team, but that's just me personally. But like I said, I know there's situations where Outlaw can do really well, and that's where they're base spinning, or not base spinning, but going to like a base to catch up. Like for example, go to the other side of Eye of the Storm and stop them from capping, and so on and so forth. So, anyways, that's the reason why I am putting Outlaw on B tier, and yeah. Up next is Balance Druid. I don't think this is a surprise. Battleground Blitz or Battlegrounds in general. Boomkin's always good. It's always been S tier. I'm a Boomkin main, and it's just how they are. I don't remember a time when Boomkin has never been not good in Battlegrounds. People always complain about Boomkins and Battlegrounds all the time. So Boomkin S tier, Rock class, excellent CC. Um, Root Beam is very powerful against healers. Decent mobility. Although compared to most of the mobility classes have these days, I guess it's not as good anymore. But yeah. But yeah, excellent raw damage. You know, Boomkins are just always really good. They hit really hard during Incarnation. And yeah, I mean, not much else to say. They just, like I said, excellent CC, um, excellent raw damage, excellent single target damage during burst, and so on and so forth. So I'm putting them on S tier for that reason. Up next is Feral Druid. I have debated on where to put this one. To be honest, I am not sure where to put Feral right now. My decision is between S and A tier. Feral Druid, I think, is probably going to be A tier this season for me. You could probably, like I said, you can make a case for an S tier, and my reasoning is, they nerfed Maim this season, to 30 seconds. I feel like that's a pretty decent nerf. I don't know, maybe that's a pretty dumb reason to put it in A tier. Let me know in the comment section down below if you disagree with me. That's fine. I was going back and forth whether to put them in S tier or A tier or not. I do feel like their survivability is kind of taken a little bit of a hit recently. I feel like at the start of the expansion as well, I lived a lot longer than I do now, so Feral feels a little bit more squishy this um lately as later as the expansion goes on as well, probably because of the gear, but yeah. Anyways, that's not the reason why I was putting it A tier, but um Maim nerf I feel like is gonna hit them a little bit because their CC took a little bit of a hit. So that's just me personally. They're kind of similar to Assassin, where they can be in team fights or also ninja bases. It just depends on the situation. So I think they're similar to Assassin, which I guess you know what we'll put it on S tier. We'll put it on S tier. I feel like may not put it on the same reason, but if they're similar to Assassin, where they can do both. Where the only difference between Assassin and Feral is that Feral can keep healing itself, and it has the mobility to run away because Assassin can't just like get out of roots and slows and all that. But Assassin has vanished. So I think it is an OBS tier. I mean, let me know in the comment section down below whether you think it should be S or A tier. I think it'll be good this season regardless. Pharaoh was the spec I did hit high rated on last season. I was 27. My highest rating I got up to Baron Blitz on Feral Druid last season was 2770. So I tried to go for rank 1 last season and I couldn't end up doing it. I actually ended up giving up just because the queue times were really annoying. And the only time rank 1 players were queuing was like freaking 1 in the morning, and it was just yeah. So, but yeah, I think it'll be good. This season again, we'll see. How the meme affects it. So, but yeah, I think we'll leave Feral Druid S tier because it's similar to Assassin Rogue. So S tier. Up next is Beast Mastery Hunter. I think Beast Mastery Hunter will be A tier. The reason why I'm putting it A tier instead of S tier is just Beastmaster is generally the base sitter. They're really good base sitters. Having said that, AI pets generally tend to be really irritating in battlegrounds. I do have pet macros myself, but I'm sure hunter players know sometimes pet AI can be kind of annoying sometimes to deal with in battlegrounds. And similar to demo, their damage is more ramp up compared to like something like marksman where you can just go boom boom and kill something. I don't think Beastmaster is bad. I think they'll be really good this season. They're generally always good in Battleground Blitz because, like I said, they're base sitters generally. Every time I get Battleground Blitz, they always sit bases. Having said that, like I said, they're ramp up specs, and generally pet AI is kind of more irritating to deal with in Battlegrounds. So that's why I'm putting them in A tier. I don't think they'll be bad, but this just goes into the next spec that I am putting in S tier. Marksman. To surprise of pretty much nobody, Marksman is similar to Boomkin. They're always pretty good in Battlegrounds. They hit very hard right now. Their cleave is pretty nice. Um, they have some decent CC. They got knockbacks for specific maps like Eye of the Storm if necessary. You can, somebody tries to be brave, you can intimidation and knock them off with like bursting shot or explosive trap. I mean, there's so many things that Marksman does. They're like they're so good. Their damage, their cleave damage, decent CC. I mean, there's just Marksman is just insane. So that's the reason why I'm putting it on S tier. So like I said, it's not bad. Beastmaster is not bad. It's just Marksman just is way stronger. I feel like in Valorant at the moment. So that's the reason why I'm putting Marksman on S tier. So up next is Survival Hunter. I'm not exactly sure where to rank this one. I played Survival a little bit recently. Uh, Having said that, I think it's probably B tier for me. I don't necessarily think it's bad. I just think that Marksman is definitely way stronger, and I think Beastmaster is better for background lists than Survival at the moment. Could probably make a case for this to make it an A tier, but I think it's B tier. Just I personally think uh it's I feel like it's not as great as Beastmaster and Survival for me right now. I mean, I don't think Survival is necessarily bad, but I just think the two other Hunter specs outshine it for me right now, and that's my reasoning for putting it in the B tier. I also, compared to the other two Hunter specs, I never saw a single Survival Hunter in the high rated range as well. So I'm not sure what they're like there, but yeah, so I'm not sure if they would ever be as good base defenders as Beastmaster either, because Beastmaster has double pets and Survival doesn't. So I think they'll still be pretty good base defenders, but yeah. So moral story, I wasn't really sure whether to put this in A or B tier, but I think they're B tier, as I just think the other two specs outshine them more than Survival does. So I'm putting them on B tier for that reason. Up next is Devastation Evoker. I'm predicting they'll be S tier this season. They're very strong in battlegrounds. Hover is just very strong. Even with the nullifying shroud nerf, I still see them gonna be pretty good. So I think they'll be S tier for that reason. Also, their tier set was going to give them some mirror images this season, which will be pretty amusing to see disintegrates go all over the place. Their cleave damage is absolutely ridiculous. So on maps like where there's not much for them to go, people to move, like Eye of the Storm, the cleave will be absolutely huge on that map. Um, Sleepwalk is also pretty nice to lock healers out of the fight as long as nobody is killing them. So you can kill DPS if necessary. Um, what's some other good things about them? They also have rescue, which can sometimes help out flag carriers. I've actually saved flag carriers myself, doing that multiple times. Also, they can use honor talent to grab the enemy and put them near the ledge, and then you can knock them off that way. I've seen a lot of high rated evokers do that. I haven't gotten a chance to do that myself very often, but it's because sometimes it can be difficult to pull off, but you can do that. Yeah, I'm predicting Devastation will be pretty good next season, so putting it on S tier for that reason. Up next is Augmentation Evoker. I think this is gonna be B tier. It won't be as good as Devastation. I feel like you could probably. The reason why I'm putting it on B tier is because their one shot thing can be pretty nice, but also the fact that they do buff their teammates. So and buffing your teammates can help out quite a bit, as buffing their damage can sometimes help win the fight there. So I think they'll be B tier. Just other than like buffing your teammates, I feel like they don't really bring probably too much else to the battlegrounds compared to like Devastation, where they could just keep doing nonstop huge damage. So but yeah, augmentation, I feel like it's B tier. I don't think they're deserving of C or D tier, but I think B tier is a good spot for them. As I think augmentation can do decent damage, but the buffing their teammates is pretty huge. So I think they're B tier pretty much for that reason. I feel like the B tier category is just pretty accurate. Like they're just there, they help out, but they don't just bring as much as the A and S tier. So that's my prediction for augmentation. Up next is Elemental Shaman. For Elemental Shaman, I think they're gonna be. I'm not sure where I'm gonna rank Elemental Shaman to be honest. I feel like there's already a lot of S tiers of it, and Ellie has a lot of ramp up time, so I think I'm gonna put Elemental A tier. Um, I don't think Elemental is necessarily that bad. They do bring up a lot of utility. They got knockbacks. They have decent self healing to heal teammates if necessary. Static Totem can help out to get people out of carts and stuff. On Silver Shard Mines, I can tell you how many times people have done that. Um, so I'll put Ellie on S tier. I feel like Ellie is pretty good enough to be on S tier. Yeah, like thinking about it now, Ellie is probably like S tier for me because, like I said, there's so many different strategies I could think of for Ellie. Like I said, static totem to get people out of carts. Hex. I've seen some elemental shamans use hex to ninja bases before, so they can do that. Their curse can absolutely melt entire teams. The only downside is that after that, their ramp up might be a little bit rough. But yeah, I think Elemental will be S tier for the next. So I think they'll be S tier. Enhancement Shaman. I don't think this will be surprising to anybody. I don't see enhancement being really that amazing. I never see enhancements in Battle Blitz ever. Like I never see them. I don't even sometimes I don't even think they exist. I just don't think they're ever as strong in Battleground Blitz. It doesn't feel that way. I mean, they do. I've been playing some enhancement for videos lately, and if you've seen it, they do decent damage, of course. But like, they're easy to kite. They're easy to shut down. They're very squishy. It's just they don't really. I feel like bring as much to the table compared to like other specs. So I think they're just C tier for that reason. So if you disagree with me, that's fine. They could be put in the B tier, but being honest, I actually really think that enhancement is just they don't really bring as much to the table, and that's why I'm putting them in the C tier category. Up next is Arcane Mage. I actually think they're A tier. I think I put them on B tier last season. I actually think they're going to be A tier this season. I've been seeing a lot of Arcane Mages since the patches dropped. Everybody's playing it right now. And I'm putting them on A tier. I don't think they're worthy of being S tier simply due to the fact that they don't have double ice block and they're a lot easier to shut down compared to the other mage specs. So I'm putting on A tier for that reason. Other than that, they got decent damage, decent burst damage. I actually saw a few high rated arcane mages last season in Battleground Blitz on my main, and they did pretty well. So I think they'll do the same thing this season. They'll do pretty well. I think they'll probably end up being the second best mage spec, which if you're the ones you'll see in a little bit here, you'll probably not be surprised what the best mage spec in my opinion is. But yeah, so Ice Wall does help out quite a bit, which every mage spec has. Arcane Mage is really good against melee, but high rated, there's generally a lot of casters, so you'll probably not do as well against casters, because like I said, uh, you'll probably be locked out of your spells quite often. Yeah, sometimes, actually, I guess maybe not, because it just depends, because they don't really have to cast you terribly much, like just mostly arcane missiles, but regardless, I think Arcane Mage will be pretty good this season. It's just that their weakness, in my opinion, is that they get locked out pretty easy and they don't have double ice block. So that's my reasoning for putting them in A tier. Having said that, I feel like they'll be good in pretty much everything else. So if you can get past those two, I think Arcane Mage will be pretty solid pick this season. Up next is Fire Mage. I think this will be kind of similar to enhancement. I just feel like they don't bring as much to the table. Their burst is probably gonna be pretty good. I saw one fire mage last season, pretty high rated, and that was it. I don't think they'll do pretty bad, but just comparing it to Frost and Arcane, I don't think they're as good. You can probably make a case for it for B tier, but I think they're similar to Enhancement, or they just don't bring as much to the table compared to Arcane or Frost. If you disagree with me, let me know. But this is my personal experience from Battleground Blitz, and I'd actually rather have a Frost or Arcane Mage on my team compared to Fire. I just don't think they bring as much to battlegrounds, in my opinion. So, not that Fire Mage damage is necessarily bad. I've seen some good ones. It's just that I think they're similar to Enhance, where they just don't really bring as much to the table, other than like ice walls or sheeping when necessary. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much good experience with fire mages on my team compared to Arcane and Frost, so why I'm ranking it on C tier. And then last but not least, Frost Mage. I don't think this will surprise anybody. I'm predicting Frost Mage will be S tier in Battleground Blitz. They are good with their AoE slows. They have double ice block. Ice Wall is absolutely huge, which I said all mage specs have. But yeah, what makes Frost Mage really good is just like I said, all the slows everywhere, their cleaves, their double ice block, or you know, they just have perma slows and everything. It's just Frost is just very, very, very good for battlegrounds, and I recommend giving Frost a try this season if you have not tried it. So we're gonna put it on S tier for that reason. Alrighty, up next is Frosty King. Frosty K got a rework. I have been debating on where to put this one. Some people might disagree with me, and I think Frost DK is A tier this season. And let me explain. Frost DK last season, in my opinion, was really good. I liked it a lot. I loved. They are very strong in battlegrounds because they can AoE clear everything. Having said that, I have tried out Frost DK this patch already, and with the loss of Abomination Limb, I feel like it's kind of a little bit more rougher to like grab everybody and cleave them all at once. Like last patch, you would use Abomination Limb, pull them all, use your AoE cleave, and cleave like everyone at once. I have multiple videos just showing that off where you can just wipe entire teams like that. With the loss of Abomination Limb this season, and if everybody's spread out, it's gonna be a lot harder to do that kind of situation. So I'm putting them A tier for that reason. Uh, if you guys think they are deserving of S tier, let me know. But I think A spot's a good spot for them because I actually think they're going to be very good this season. It's just that with the loss of Abomination Limb, it's going to be a lot harder to cleave things down. which is the reason why I'm putting them in A tier. I don't think they'll be bad. I think the loss of Abomination Limb kind of hurt quite a lot, so I'm putting them on A tier for that reason. Up next is Unholy. Personally, I think Unholy will probably end up being B or A tier. I don't really play Unholy that much myself, and I don't see much of Unholy in Battleground Blitz. It's usually Frost. I think with the rework, they might do a little bit better this season, but I think there will be a lot more Frost DKs than Unholy this season. I think they're in B tier just because, like, I think they're kind of similar to Survival and Demo and Outlaw to me, where they're just kind of like, there where the other specs kind of just bring better stuff to the table. You know what I mean? I think Frost is overall better in Battlegrounds to me than Unholy. At least in my experience from seeing how the patch has gone so far, I think Frost has been better than Unholy. Judging by the Death Knights I faced, as well as I played Frost. It just Frost feels like I said a little bit better. I don't play Unholy that much, but you know, this is just my experience. I don't think Unholy is going to be bad, but I just think Frost is going to be better in Battleground Blitz settings. If you disagree with me, let me know. Maybe it could be A tier, but this is prediction list, and I think Unholy is probably going to be B tier. But yeah, we'll see. Tuning can change anything in an instant, so yeah, that's where I'm going to be putting Unholy. Up next is Havoc Demon Hunter. Havoc Demon Hunter, I think is going to be A tier. Probably could make a case for an S tier, but I think it'll be A tier. The reason why that it is because I think they're similar to um Warrior, where they don't really bring as much to battlegrounds. Like they're more of like just team fights. They don't really like bring too terribly much. Like they have moral strength, which most of the classes already have. They got mobility, but they're very squishy, so they don't really make good flag runners, and healers run flags anyways. Um, so like I said, they're kind of similar to like a good example is like Warrior, Death Knight. They're really good at team fights, and that's what makes them like A tier to me. Like they're not really good at like ninjing flags. They're not like they just don't really have like anything that stands out. Like they're just the only thing that like Demon Hunter kind of brings is their damage, and their damage is like really good, and stuff like that. So I mean, they have Imprison and Fears to CC their healers, but it's like nothing to like ninja the flags or stuff like that. If you guys understand what I mean. So I think they're A tier. They're really good in Battleground Blitz. I've seen some Demon Hunters in Battleground Blitz do really well at high rated. So I think they'll be pretty good in Battleground Blitz. If you want to make a case for an S tier, you can, but I think A spot's a pretty good spot for them just because the S tier specs I feel like bring more to the table than Demon Hunter does personally. But that's just my experience. And like I said, I don't think Demon Hunter is bad. It's just that I think the S tier specs bring more to the table than Demon Hunter does. Up next is Fury Warrior. Fury Warriors in general, I think are going to be C tier. You probably make a case for it in B tier, but I feel like it's similar to Fire Mage and Enhancement. They just don't really bring too much to the table. Their damage is obviously not too bad, which, like I said, you can make a case for in B tier, but I feel like it's probably just a C tier spec to me. They just don't really bring as much. I never really see any Fury Warriors in Battleground Blitz either. Everybody always plays arms. So they're similar to Havoc and Frost DK, where they're there to do damage pretty much. So that's the reason why I'm putting Fury Warrior in C tier. You could probably make a case for it, and like I said, in B tier. We'll put it in B tier. I feel like B tier is probably a good spot to put it. But let me know if you agree or disagree. Put it in C tier, but I would definitely not put it in any higher than that. For arms, similar to Frost and Havoc, A tier. Um, Main thing that arms does is that it's usually on maps like Deep Wind or AB. In my experience, they usually go middle, and spin the flag as long as possible against the other team, and that's what arms warriors generally usually do in Battleground Blitz. Other than that, they usually are the Mortal Strike class where they put and they're really good with cleave damage. Um and yeah, I mean they're a lot better in Battleground Blitz in my opinion than normal battlegrounds as well because they have dedicated healers, which is nice, so they can live longer, at least in my opinion, in Blitz. than compared to randoms, since they have pretty good healers there generally. Also, hopefully the healers are better there. But yeah, so I think Arms is going to be good this season. It's definitely better than Fury. Like I said, I'm not sure if Fury is C or B tier, but yeah, I think Arms will be pretty good. It's similar to Frost DK and Havoc, where they're just really good for damage, useful for Mortal Strike. The difference between Frost DK and Havoc and Warriors, that Warrior generally tends to go spin middle by itself with a healer most of the time, in my Battleground Blitz experience, so they're generally pretty good. And that's my reasoning for putting Armed Warrior in A tier. Up next is Shadow Priest. I predict Shadow Priest will be really good this season. I have been playing it since the patches dropped, probably more than anything right now, surprisingly. And I think it'll be really good. It's got the utility. Life Swap can save people in tons of situations. Can't tell you how many times I've saved a healer or a flag carry even with Life Swap. It's got Leap of Faith, which is once again very useful. Mind Control can be used to get people off cliffs, take them out of the fights. They're very tanky. They got more ranged on their spells with the talent, more 46-yard range, so they can hit people farther away than most classes. They're really good at killing healers. They're one of the few good specs at killing healers. They're a raw class, very strong against battlegrounds or in battlegrounds. And yeah, I mean, I'm predicting Shadow Priest will be good unless they like really over nerf their damage, which who knows they could do. There's a lot of Shadow Priest right now, and it seems to be very good. I'm looking forward to playing it in season 3. I think they'll be pretty good. Up next is Rep Paladin. I think this will be S tier as well. I know there's a ton of S tier specs, but this is, like I said, I'm giving my reasoning why. And the reason why I read as S tier is they're generally pretty much good at everything in Blitz. They are usually, it's similar to Beast Mastery. If there's no Red Paladins, Beast Mastery is the base defender. If there is a Red Paladin in the group, they are usually the base defenders because they have Bubble. They are also the ultimate support spec for saving teammates with sack, lay on hands. I've seen a lot of Paladins do this. They're really good at off carts in helping off cart teams in Silver Shard Mines, for example. I can't tell you how many times a Rep Paladin saved my behind because I'm always put on off cart duty if there's one on my team. Uh, Overall, it just is a very good spec in Battleground Blitz. They bring damage. They bring excellent base defending utility. They're very good at saving teammates if necessary with, like I said, their utility. Like I said, they pretty much have everything. So any situation in Battleground Blitz, except for obviously like stuff like flag carrying and all that, they're generally just really, really, really good. So that's my reasoning for putting them on S tier. Up next is Windwalker Monk. For Windwalker, I want to say it's similar to Warrior, Demon Hunter, and Monk. I don't think they will be that bad, but they just don't bring too terribly much other than their damage. And their damage is really good. They actually have excellent cleave damage with if you're playing Celestial. So I can't tell you how many times I've just cleaved people down on my Windwalker Monk doing that. But other than that, they just don't really bring too terribly much to the table. Having disarms is pretty nice against melee as well. But yeah. They do have good defenses. They can also, I've seen some Windwalker monks, not a lot, but I've seen some Windwalker monks manage to solo ninja bases in like Deep Wind, for example, so they can do that. But yeah, I mean, they don't really bring too terribly much. They're similar to like Warrior, not really much CC. Uh, um, and they have a Mortal Strike. The only difference between like a Warrior and a Monk, for example, is just that the Monk has mobility, so and Warriors don't. I mean, I guess you can argue Warriors have decent mobility with Charge and Heroic Leap, but you guys know what I mean. But yeah, so I think Windwalker Monks are on A tier. I think they'll be pretty good. I've seen some good ones in Battleground Blitz, and I think that's the perfect spot to put them at. All right, now comes the hard part: tanks and healers. Before we get into this, I don't play a lot of tanks, and I'm not much of a healer player. So I'm going based off personal experience of facing them in Battleground Blitz for this one, compared to where DPS, where I have mostly played them all in Battleground Blitz. There's a few exceptions, like for example, I have not played a few specs in Blitz, but I played mostly all of them Blitz last season. So, but yeah, so we're gonna go over tanks and healers. So bear with me as you know, it's a lot harder to rank these, especially with the fact that tanks, for example, are a lot harder to judge because I don't get tanks to games that often. So first up is Guardian Druid. Guardian Druid is probably, if there's one tank I've played, it's Guardian Druid. If I had to rate them this season, I think they'll probably. Mm, I think they'll probably be in S tier. I think they're Guardian Druids were a really good flag carrier for a long time. I think they'll probably be decent base hitters as well with Brambles. So I think they're pretty much deserving at S tier for that reason. I think they're really good at in battlegrounds. I've played mine a lot. I've always enjoyed my Guardian Druid a lot in battlegrounds. So I think they'll be an S tier. They got good survivability. They're good at flag running because of their mobility. Decent self healing. The only thing about with Guardian Druid is that they had the weakest damage out of all the tanks, so do keep that in mind. Which I know before anybody says anything, they're tanks, so I know. But yeah, so I think they'll be S tier for Battleground Blitz. So that's my prediction for season 3, Guardian Druid. Up next is Holy Priest. I'm putting them on A tier. Holy Priest, usually, in my opinion, in my experience with having them on my team, do pretty well. The only reason why I'm putting them on, not putting them on S tier, because there's a few other healers that are, in my opinion, better than Holy Priest right now. But they're very strong battleground AoE type healers. They can, in my experience, they're really good at AoE healing. I've actually played a Holy Priest. Ironically, Holy Priest is one of the healers I've actually played recently. I'm not much of a healer player myself, but I've played Holy Priest more than any other healer um, last season, and I actually enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, and I think they'll be pretty good again this season. They're very strong with healing battlegrounds, so I'm putting them in A tier for that reason. Up next is Holy Pally. In my experience, having Holy Pally in battlegrounds, I don't think they're generally that good. I don't really have good experiences with Holy Pally. I'm sure there's some. I know there's some good Holy Pallys out there, but in my experience, whenever I have a Holy Pally on my team, they generally just don't do that well. At least in my experience. So I'm putting them on C tier for that reason. Some people might disagree with me, and like I said before, I am not a healer player, but I'm just going off based experience players, or not experience players, sorry, based off experience. And in my battlegrounds, I generally just don't have a good experience with Holy Pallies. I know there's some good ones out there, but either they must be rare or something because I just don't run into very many good experiences with them on my team. So that's why I'm putting them on C tier for that reason. Mistweaver, 100% S tier. Mistweavers were uh always flag carriers before the teleport nerf, and even after the teleport nerf, Mistweavers are still running flags, and even if they don't run flags, they are very excellent battleground healers. So in my opinion, they are S tier in battlegrounds at the moment. I think they are very strong, and I'm looking to. I mean, not looking, but I am expecting this to not change in season 3. I'm expecting them to be probably the same. They'll probably run flags every once in a while, or if nothing else, they'll be excellent battleground healers. So S tier for that reason. Preservation Evoker, same thing. Excellent battleground healers. They are always flag carriers. If there's one on your team, I always see it. And whenever there's a Preservation Evoker, people are like, "Preservation, run the flag. Preservation, run the flag." So yeah, expecting them to run the flag, and they're gonna be probably good in season 3 as well. I don't think anything's gonna change. I think they will be excellent in season 3 as well. Up next is Prompt Warrior. Again, tanks are very hard to rate. If I had to pick, I think B tier for Prompt Warrior. Um, I just other than watching another background player, Soulscape, like I think I saw him like once play. I don't remember. It's hard for me to remember it, but I don't get too many tank games, and I don't play Prompt Warrior myself. But I saw they do really well with spinning the base from what I saw. But I don't think they bring much else to that. I don't think they're. I mean, you could probably put them in A tier for flag running too, but I think B tier is a decent spot for them. I just they don't really bring too terribly much else other than that. So I think B tier is a good spot for them. Maybe C tier. Not sure where it's really hard to rate where tanks are, but I can definitely rate where Prot Pally is. Prot Pally just does not bring anything to Battleground Blitz like at all. The only thing they do is spin flags. That's it. They terrible base or not terrible base so terrible flag runner, because they can't bubble. Can't bubble with orbs on Temple. Um, so they're pretty much useful on maps like Deep Wind, AB, Gilneas, probably Silvershard Mines, so they can help with all cards. But yeah, I mean they're not a good tank. Would not recommend them. I don't think they're getting Power and Blitz at all. So I'm putting them in D tier for that reason. Up next is Resto Shaman. I think they're better than Holy Pally, so I'm putting them on B tier. I think Holy Priest is better than them though, so at least in my experience. So I'm putting them on B tier. Don't think they're bad. I just think they're kind of like in the smack dab in the middle, kind of just like meh. They don't blow me away or anything, but they're better than Holy Pally in my experience. So I'm putting them on B tier for that reason. Up next is Resto Druid. Similar to Holy Priest, I think they're A tier. I think they're better. Could probably make the same case for in B tier, but I think Resto Druid has been, in my experience, Resto Druid has been a little bit better than the Resto Shamans that I've had on my team, so I'm putting on A tier for that reason. Like I said before, I am not a healer player. I'm just going based off experience here, and my experiences with Resto Druid have been better than Shaman, so I think Resto Druid is a little bit better. Not to mention they have mobility than Resto Shaman, and Cyclone is absolutely huge as well for CC. And yeah, that's my reasoning for putting it on A tier. Up next is Vengeance Demon Hunter. Like I said, tanks are very, very hard to rate. I would put them on A tier because I think they're very good at running flags. Uh, but other than that, I don't think they really do much of anything else. Their damage is kind of a little bit meh, and spinning bases, I don't see them spinning bases that well. I don't, just because I feel like they could get capped on pretty easy. But yeah, I feel like they're good at running flags, so I'll put them on A tier for that reason. Other than that, you could probably put them on B tier. I don't know, but like I said, tanks are just very hard to rate. All right, and then up next is Blood DK. Blood DK did get some death grip nerfs. Usually they try to lock priests out of the battleground, which I don't know if you can still do. You probably could, but I think they'll be on B tier because there's similar situation to Prot where the only thing that I've seen Blood DKs do when I have gotten them in Blitz is they just lock priests out of the fight. That's about the only thing they really do. That's pretty much it. So I think they're on D tier for that reason, and that's my reasoning for putting them on B tier. Up next is Discipline Priest. I think they're similar to Holy Priest. They're really good at flag running if Preservation or Mistweaver is not around. Um, Other than that, I feel like they don't really do as much healing in team fights. They do okay. I had better experience with them than I do with Holy Pally and Resto Shaman, but yeah, they're usually, in my experience, the flag runners if there's no other healers like Preservation, Evoker, and Mistweaver on the team. I've seen Discipline Priest run it pretty often. Other than that, I think they're A tier. Discipline Priests have been always been pretty annoying to me to deal with. But yeah, so putting them on A tier pretty much for that reason. Last but not least, Brewmaster. I think this will be on C tier. Simply due to the fact that they can't teleport with an orb or the flag. Um, their damage is pretty decent. They also have really strong CC. I've been playing Brewmaster and every once in a while recently, and they really have strong CC. So I think they're pretty decent. But like I said, with the monk nerf with the teleport, I mean that's a huge nerf to monk flag carriers. So and orb carriers. So due to the fact of that reason, I'm putting them on C tier. So let me know what you guys think of my list, whether you disagree or agree with me. I'm curious. Let me know in the comment section down below, as I am very, very curious. And yeah, that's it for the video. See you guys later.